Good morning, truck fans, and welcome to Loudon, New Hampshire. It's the Hell of a Good 200 qualifying for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. A chilly morning here in the Northeast, 52 degrees, and the wind 16 miles an hour. It's biting at the skin as you're walking or riding around this racetrack. Partly cloudy skies. When the sun is out, not so bad, but when it's underneath or behind this cloud, it is difficult. A big day here on Speed, the Whelen Modified race at 1 o'clock. Then the setup with Chris Devota at 2:30 gets us ready for the Hell of a Good 200 at 3 p.m. Last week was unbelievable, and if you missed it, shame on you. But we want to give you a glance back at what took place when we were at Gateway International Raceway.
This track is very difficult in 1 and 2, and you have to get through there good to even have an opportunity to run up front this track. Crafton looks like his truck's pretty good. He got a little over anxious going down there in the other corner.
Matt Crafton voicing his displeasure with how Hornaday had raced him on that last green flag run.
You wouldn't think Crafton would push Hornaday out of the way, would he? Get back in this championship. Look at the move by Brian Scott. Right after they cross the start-finish line, he ducks to the inside. Can he take away the lead from Crawford?
Well, that's the best time to do it. You're most vulnerable right on the restart.
Hornaday has lost 15 times after leading more than 100 laps in a race.
I know we're better than everybody else, but you never know on a restart. I'm just waiting for something to go wrong.
It will be the final 8 laps of racing from Gateway International Raceway.
Oh, Todd gets turned.
Todd slides to the inside and more contact. Rick Crawford is involved. Colin Brown is involved.
Todd did not get a very good start.
Trying to block the 88 of Matt Crafton coming to the inside.
Todd saw him coming. He got there, and then but he kept pressing the issue.
Matt did not go off.
No, and he never went gas too.
I blocked him, no doubt about it. There's just no cure for stupid. And the kid's been that way his whole career, and he's going to continue.
The last thing I want to do is wreck somebody. I hate that, really do, for him. Tell you one thing, I ain't scared. Ain't scared at all.
Matt Crafton, he's running second. He's second in the points, right behind Ron Hornaday. We're back underway. 4 to go from Gateway.
Crafton's all over him. He's got a run, a little bit of a run. He moves to the inside. There's the contact.
Contact again. Crafton gets into the back of the 33, and Hornaday spins around. Oh, and big contact behind him.
That really looked a lot different from what the other situation was with Todd and Matt Crafton.
Ron's trying to block him, there's no doubt.
From listening to that 88 truck, I don't think that was intentional.
No, I mean, you could hear him get off the gas. You could take both sides on this.
NASCAR is going to post the 88. This will put him probably 13th. Mike Skinner is going to win at Gateway International Raceway.
If it was, halfway through the race, I would have lifted and did it, but these guys work too hard on these things to just let off and just give somebody a position right there at the end, and I'm not just going to let them have it.
Indeed, there is never a shortage of drama when it comes to the Camping World Truck Series. The top 2 in points tangling on the track a week ago. Kevin Harvick owns Ron Hornaday's truck, and he's always been scheduled to race here today at New Hampshire. Yesterday in the first practice session of the weekend, driver number 2 made his presence known, putting some mind games together for Matt Crafton. And I believe based on what we heard on the radio from Matt, it worked.
I'm pissed right now. Let him get going there. Concentrate on your truck. Don't get Wayne. This brake checked me like 4 times.
And following the 2's situation on track, Wayne Auten, the series director in the Camping World Truck Series, paid a visit to both garage stalls, talking with Matt Crafton and Kevin Harvick, trying to calm things down before they ever get going this weekend here at New Hampshire. For more on this story, let's send it over now to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Adam. I think it's a very interesting time right now for Thor Sport Racing. They're probably at the very pinnacle of what this team has ever been. They've got Johnny Sauter running well right now. He's in this number 13 truck. Last week they had a career best tying second place run. These guys have really been on top of their game. So the question is, how do you rebound from the shenanigans of a week ago? Well, these guys have come in focused, saying today it's just another race, and they plan on going out there, giving their best. These 2 drivers will be there each and every week, but Thor Sport Racing also brought a 3rd truck this week. Michael McDowell will be behind the wheel of the 98 It'll be interesting to see what goes on later today right here at New Hampshire.
Buford T. Justice, I believe, driving that 98, the old police car. On the back, it says, to serve and protect.
Who's he trying to protect?
I'm not sure yet. Guys, what do you think about what has taken place up to this point?
I think I went away for a week and things went crazy over in St. Louis.
We missed you.
You know, what a great restart. First of all, Matt Crafton had twice. He was inside of Todd, and Todd blocked him. When you go to block a guy, Phil, you know you're taking your chances. You're putting your destiny in his hands.
Right.
You're saying, okay, I'm going to block you. Don't wreck me. Well,
You're hoping you don't get wrecked.
and then he got wrecked. And the same deal with Ron. You know, Matt got a great start. Ron certainly dove down in the corner in front of Matt, and Matt hit him. That's Matt's option. It's Ron's option. And man, it was crazy up there. And then what happened here already? Adam said he wanted to chill things out before they ever got started. I got news for you. They've already started.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It started. On the racetrack, Brandon Knupp in the 08 trying to qualify that truck for Bobby Donner. Green Light Racing. Just to take it a step further, Phil, I'd like to ask you, could Matt Crafton have made that corner when he was that far inside of Ron Hornaday going as fast as he was?
He would not have made that corner, I don't think, and stayed on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah.
But as Michael said, you know, I look at those two incidents completely different. The deal with Todd, I mean, the contact happened. Todd kept forcing the issue to me well before they got to the corner. Ron had already made his move down to the corner. He was truthfully against the curb when the contact happened from Matt.
Yeah, they were different, but the thing that was that they had in common was the restarts that Matt got. You know, Ron's always the restart guy, and I guarantee you Matt said, darn, look at me, I'm pulling up on Ron Hornaday. I'm going to get down in this corner and get beside him, and Ron had an option right there, Phil. The outside is great at Gateway. He could have said, okay, take the bottom. I don't think you can stay down there, and I believe I'll hold you off on the high side. Ron decided to force the issue, take the bottom of the racetrack away from Matt. You know, in hindsight, it was Matt that was over aggressive, and Ron is the one that got wrecked. Yeah. So maybe Ron would say, yeah, I could have given him the bottom and still won this darn race.
And still beat him off turn 2.
Exactly.
Brandon Knupp, the first one on the racetrack. No fireworks yet, obviously one truck at a time. 32.772 is the mark that Brandon has put out there. Now Norm Benning on the racetrack in the number 57.
This is a fun track to drive. You see Norm Benning here coming off turn 2. It's got variable banking. You can get way down on the bottom, Rick, and find some grip, and then, of course, up high. So just came off the track. It was cold this morning, and the tires don't like to hook up when it's cold. I'd be surprised to see any of these cats run the fastest first lap.
Yeah,
I believe I got to get some heat in these tires and maybe go for it on the second lap.
I wouldn't be surprised to see 3/10, maybe even a half a second better second lap than these guys. And you know, you talk about the variable banking. It's 2 degrees down on the flat, all the way up to 7 degrees up towards the top. So there's a lot of different options here, and that's what Bob Bear tried to create here. He tried to create some options for drivers.
Yeah, this track is it's just a jewel up here in the Northeast. We as competitors love coming here, love the enthusiastic fans that come out to support and watch what we do. This place will be sold out tomorrow. A ton of people here today, and Bob did a great job when he reconfigured this place. He took and made the bottom flatter. And so therefore, if you want to go the short way around, you don't have as much bank to lean on. If you want to go the longer way around, there's more bank up that way. So what a great job. And see this yellow line, Phil? You can drive all the way down underneath that yellow line on the exit of the corner. You'll see guys way down there on the apron exiting the corner.
And that's not a penalty here.
No, you can go out of bounds here.
Norm Benning goes 32.784, second quick. Rest of the day on speed again. The Wheeling Modified race at 1 o'clock. Then the setup with Chris DeVota at 2:30. The green flag will fly. Will Tempers fly at 3 o'clock? Make sure to stay tuned. Speed presentation of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from New Hampshire is brought to you by Camping World. Visit campingworld.com and check out our entire lineup of shares. Eric Almirola actually scheduled to go out first on the racetrack, but wasn't ready to go out at that time, so now he'll be the third truck on the track.
Talk about a guy that's been on fire. Now, the last 7 races in one of these 2 Billy Blue trucks, he's driven both the 15 and the 51, top 10 finishes last 7 races.
Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, the reason that Eric Almirola did not roll off first is he was out for the Cup practice. And just as Michael was saying, he wanted to get every minute of that last practice. He ran down to the front of the grid and jumped in his truck. And NASCAR said, take your time, put your gear on the way you need it. We will not charge you on the 5-minute clock. So a little cooperation down here for Eric Almirola. He just got done with Cup practice, out to the racetrack.
And Michael, you were talking about how slick the racetrack is because it's cool. 0.7 of a second slower for Eric Almirola than what he had run in practice yesterday.
Yeah, and you'd have to think, Phil, that he could have got all 7 of those tenths on his second lap, but something didn't go right. He ran a 30.83 on the first lap and just a 71 on the second.
Yeah,
so
it should have been a big pick.
Yeah, he should have picked up those 7 tenths, so he must have slipped a little bit. And that's what's so interesting about this Loudon racetrack. You have to push the gas so hard that you have to assume the truck is going to stick. And then if you get the gas down and you're wide open and it doesn't stick, all your momentum's gone. And this is a real momentum racetrack. You really need to keep the gas down, but if it gets sideways, you can't just leave your foot in it and ride it out. You got to back off the gas, and it costs you all your momentum.
Johnny Sauter was 6th quickest in practice yesterday at a 29.745. We'll see if he comes anywhere near that.
Yeah, we'll get a good idea now what the racetrack may be allowed to give here.
Well, the track is fine, Phil. We just came off of it. Times were really fast in practice, so the track's fine. These trucks aren't fine right now. They're cold. They've been sitting around all night. And
good first lap, though.
Yeah, Johnny runs a 30.03. He got a lot, but you see him slipping right there on his second lap. He was asking it to do a little bit more, and it wasn't ready to do it yet.
And as you mentioned, you thought maybe the second lap would be faster. We'll see if he's able to improve, but maybe asking a little too much of his truck early on.
And he may improve anyway. Even with that little slip down there, he probably will be a little bit better. He ran a 29.74 yesterday in practice. We'll see how this second lap compares.
Across the finish line, and does he improve? He does, but not as much as we would expect. 29.949 for Johnny Sauter.
That real minor wiggle up in turn 1 probably cost him 2 or 3 tenths of a second.
Fastest in practice yesterday was Brian Scott at a 29.551. We'll see if Brian can back it up. How about Kyle Busch? He's over from Sprint Cup practice from earlier. Todd Bodine, Rick Crawford, Stacy Compton, and Kyle Busch coming up in qualifying. Up next in the Rolex Sports Car Series, only 2 races remain, and a mere 5 points separate championship contenders. The competition will be fierce on the high plains of Utah. Don't miss the Rolex Sports Car Series live from Salt Lake City. Coming up next, only on Speed.
John Fogarty on the pole for that race. They got 2 races to go this year to decide the championship.
That race actually follows the Camping World Truck Series race later on this afternoon.
Well, there's a lot going on Speed today. We got qualifying. we got the modified
race,
a Rolex sports car race, and a truck race.
Yeah.
And talk about a great racetrack for modifieds. There's probably not a better racetrack on earth for the modified series than right here at Loudon.
Todd Bodine had run in the modified race a couple of years back, but now focusing just on the trucks for this weekend. Let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, let's check in with Rowdy. He has climbed into the number 51. Kyle, a little bit cooler today, and the track seems a little slower. Is there anything you can do as a driver differently to approach qualifying?
Just try to build heat as quick as you can. Just, trying to get heat in these things. It seems like the more and more you run, especially the cup side too, you get faster. Our fast laps today have come 5th, 6th, 7th lap. Yesterday was lap 3 because it was a bit warmer, but we'll see how this Miccosukee Tundra runs here and see if we can't get a good starting spot. It seemed like the aero sensitivity here this weekend's real tough, so unfortunately we'll be battling that today.
Interesting aerodynamic talk from Kyle Busch, guys. You wouldn't think that would play a part on a mile racetrack, would it?
What do you think, Phil? 140 or 50 miles an hour on the straight lines?
I was up watching the Cup practice early, and I was figuring probably 150 miles an hour with the kind of rear end ratios. I was trying to determine maybe what kind of speed they saw, and I would say probably close to 150 miles an hour.
And if you want to see a real aero issue, tune into that modified race you were talking about at 1 o'clock. These guys in these modified,
it's like Talladega.
Rick Crawford sideways off of turn 2.
These modified, they draft, it's an incredible show. If you haven't ever seen it, you got to tune in because it's a 9th wonder of the world. Or is it 8?
How about the 8th?
Yeah, so we've already got 7, so this will be 8.
There's 7 continents. I learned that when I did Who's Smarter Than a 5th Grader.
I'm glad you're all over that. Rick Crawford all over the racetrack on his first lap. We'll see if he can pick it up on lap 2. 30.437. That slots him 3rd. a little better through 2.
This ought to be one of those half-second pickups.
Yeah. Rick ran about a 30 flat, just a little under a 30 flat yesterday in practice, so he may be able to approach that here with this lap. Rick's a former winner here at this racetrack. As a matter of fact, that was his last victory here.
Yeah. And across the start-finish line, Crawford
just
picks it up just a bit, but stays third, 30.291 for Crawford. Take a look at coming out of 2 here.
He's gonna get a little tail happy. That was on his get up to speed lap. So.
Adam Alexander.
And we heard from Kyle Busch a moment ago, and while he was away the last couple of races, Eric Almirola doing a nice job of carrying the Billy Blue Motorsports banner. Tough lap today. Is that a result of going out early, or what's the situation with you guys?
No, usually, I mean, at 10 o'clock in the morning, you'd rather go out early. We just, we've been fighting it here with our Raceway Pharmaceuticals truck this weekend. We just haven't found what we needed to be to go fast, and we've worked really hard. Doug and all the guys have worked really hard. That wasn't a good lap for us, and hopefully we'll get out of here with a good finish today and keep our string of top 5s going.
They have been a model of consistency in recent weeks.
I'd like to see him turn that hat around sideways where that Coke's in the middle. I don't understand why they put that Coke over on the side. Put right where his hat sideways.
Maybe they're doing that because these young kids these days wear their hats off to the side and they want the logo in the front.
But Eric's not following suit, though.
That's what I'm down with that, Rick. I see what
you're down with that.
I like where you're going with that, but Eric's not. He's not following along.
I'm pretty sure Phil made a comment to me earlier that said that's how I roll, and I was like, what? What did you just say? J.R. Fitzpatrick, this is a backup truck. They had problems just getting onto the racetrack yesterday. Got into the wall in turn number 2 and had to bring the backup truck out.
Man, this place is so tough. When your tires are cold, you really have to be careful. So much power, you can spin out in a hurry.
Pulling from Ray Dunlap information, the truck that they wrecked was chassis 14, and the Kevin Harvick folks all said it was one of our best trucks that we've ever run, and they were very disappointed, obviously, that one got into the wall. But JR said, you know, it just broke loose in the center, and nothing I could do with it.
Rick, let's take a look at what happened to JR yesterday in practice. It was very early on, as you mentioned. You see, he got a little bit high, maybe a little bit, but around he went. And remember, this is his first time here. He was talking to John Monson. He said, the thing is, the crew chief, we need some laps for JR, and unfortunately, they didn't get very many laps. You can see, obviously, busted an oil line there, had a little bit of an oil fire, but JR had a pretty decent run. He ran about the same thing Eric Almirola did, so he'll get him some laps today.
He comes off the racetrack. He was 5th quick at 30.734. One of the fastest guys on the racetrack yesterday was Ron Hornaday. He's with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Ron climbing into this Copart number 33. And Ron, I'm interested. You guys had another brand new chassis this weekend, fast in both of the practices. How hard do you push it to try to go for the pole and get that very best pit stall today?
We'll see. I mean, Rick Ren's made some changes, so it's a little cooler than it was yesterday. So we'll have to see what it does when it comes to the green flag. I'm pushing as hard as I can, I guess.
I'm sure he will, and they were good both practices yesterday afternoon. Now let's go to the other end of pit road and check in with Adam.
Todd Bodine currently 2nd on the board. You said no grip. Satisfied with what you got?
Nah, not really. We were a lot better in practice yesterday. But, you know, the track had a lot of heat in it. The practice had just gotten over. You know, today it's really windy, pretty chilly outside, beautiful New England day. And it just takes a while to get heat in these tires. I'd like to know what Johnny did to get that lap, but, you know, we'll end up top 10. You know, we're not satisfied with that. You know, we struggled pretty bad in practice, and right at the end of practice, we got the Lumber Liquidators Tundra a whole lot better. And, you know, we look forward to having a good race. And, you know, we gotta get it up front and keep it on TV, because Lumber Liquidators is running a special for the race fans. Go on llfloors.com and check it out. Get a discount on some flooring.
Currently 2nd is Todd Bodine, and that's where he was running when the frustration set in last week. Todd hoping to finish this race up front today.
Todd drops a spot to 3rd. Stacy Compton moves up to 2nd, 30.257 for the number 60 Toyota Tundra. We'll be back with more qualifying next on Speed. Next week, Big Block Thursday becomes a battleground as the Big Three bring the brawl to the drag strip on an all-new Pinks All Out. Then the fight takes to the streets on back-to-back episodes of Jacked and Wrecked. Big Block Thursday night, 8 Eastern on Speed.
I have weird dreams, and last night I was about half asleep, and I dreamt that they were drag racing 4 wide. But it was pinks. They really were.
I was going to say, it's not a dream.
Yeah. I know. I came to and realized that it was on speed, and that's pretty cool. 4 cars.
You know where that was, right?
Yeah. Over there at Charlotte.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
At Z-Max drag strip.
Well, here's the fastest guy yesterday in practice.
Look at that line, way low.
See if he backs it up today on the racetrack. His second lap, can he pick it up enough?
Yes.
He does. 29.892. He unseats Johnny Sauter at the top spot.
Now, Phil, did you see where he was on the track? He was way down against the apron in qualifying. You don't see that a whole lot. Brian Scott got to the bottom and made it stick.
Brian Scott, now the fastest man on the racetrack. We'll see if David Starr has anything for him. He's actually great on lap.
Yeah, he's getting ready to climb in this number 24. And David, 29.80 is where we're at right now. What do you think it's going to take to get the pole?
Well, it'll probably take about a 29.70, I believe. I think right now, just looking at what everybody's done, the racetrack has been a little bit slower, lost a little bit, but I think as it warms up, the track's getting a little bit more speed to it. But I'll tell you, our Zachary Toyota Tundra was pretty awesome yesterday in practice. We couldn't go out there and nail no fast lap making our mock qualifying runs, but our Zachary Toyota Tundra really rolled the center good and had good forward bites, so really looking forward to the race. We just want to have a decent starting spot.
All right, we wish you good luck, and Rowdy is on the racetrack, guys.
Kyle Busch now on the track for his qualifying run.
You know, guys, he talked about the track picking up with the heat, and I think the track does maybe get a little bit faster as the temperatures go up to a certain point here. But Phil, I think it's more about the trucks. These trucks are cold. You know, the coil springs that they set these trucks up on yesterday were hot. They were warm. That means they were softer. The fluid in the shocks was hot and warm. That meant it was thinner. So the trucks are working differently this morning than they did yesterday. So you take that combination with the track being a little bit different, these guys are struggling.
And they heat the engine oil up. But great first lap for Kyle Busch, by the way, 29.927, just 0.03 of a second off Brian Scott. They heat the oil up, but the block and everything isn't hot. So there's so many things working against you. See what he does on lap number 2.
New pole. 29.760 for Kyle Busch. So now we have the mark set by Kyle Busch that everyone will be shooting for.
He's about a 10th off of what he ran yesterday. You're right, the block slider. And think about this. They'll put those shocks in the shock machine, and they'll run it up and down and make sure they get a little heat in them. But you can't simulate what it was like when it was up under the hood of that truck on the racetrack.
Absolutely.
Adam Alexander, I believe you've got Stacy Compton with you.
And a moment ago, he was second on the board, but Brian Scott and Kyle Busch have pushed you to 4th. I thought you would be satisfied with the lap. You said not so much. What were you fighting, Stacy?
Just loose. I mean, I told Marcus when we come around, I said that was terrible, you know, and apparently a lot of people's fighting it. It's New Hampshire. I mean, every time you go out early here, normally you want an early draw in the mornings, but this place is always so slick. We were just sideways. I mean, sideways both laps, which should be great for the race. A lot of people's fighting tight right now, and we weren't. We were sideways loose. So I think we'll be great in the race. I mean, the Safe Auto Melling Toyota was good yesterday in practice. I was surprised. I mean, when we ran a lap, I figured we were going to be on the bottom of the chart the way it felt, but apparently everybody's fighting the same thing.
It is a tough old racetrack.
You know, this racetrack is not going to get a whole lot faster by the time this qualifying session ends. And it's not that there's not any rubber in the heat in the racetrack, because you guys were on the racetrack for 15 minutes with all 43 Cup cars. So I think it's just a combination of the cool weather and the cool track temperatures, but I don't think we're going to see a huge difference from the beginning of qualifying to the end of qualifying.
No, I don't either. I think the conditions are about as good as they're going to get.
Yesterday, Colin Brown was 12th quickest in the practices at a 29.901. If he could duplicate that mark, that would put him 3rd on the chart.
Colin is a very, very good qualifier. Only 3 or 4 times this year has he qualified outside the top 10. Good pickup. There's that half a second we were looking for. 30.026, 126.850.
4th quick for Colin Brown, so potentially a top 5 starting position for him. Kyle Busch, though, the man everyone's chasing, and TJ Bell catch it. Well, Hornaday, Malsum, Skinner, and Starr next up on the track. Ron Hornaday second quick in practice yesterday. We'll see if he can duplicate that mark. We haven't seen too many get close to their practice marks from yesterday. We'll see if Hornaday can.
He got a little close to the outside wall off turn 2. A little sideways, a lot like Rick Crawford was. Look for this to be a good lap, Mikey.
Yeah.
Maybe not this lap, but certainly this qualifying effort's going to be good.
I think this is going to be just fine right here.
Hornaday, 5th quick.
5th quick at a 07.
I think this could be a legitimate threat for the pole this second lap right here.
Really watch the truck and see that he got through that corner real well. He did what he wanted to. He dove it to the bottom. It stuck. See if he can repeat that down here. And Phil, if he does, you're right. I think he can go right to the top of the sheet.
Looks good so far. If he can get off the corner unscathed.
Oh, a little wide.
A little wide coming off the corner.
Not bad. Can he get the pole? No. Just underneath Kyle Busch. He moves to second, 29.857.
Nonetheless, a good lap, and that will be a pretty good starting spot for Ron Hornaday.
He's a couple tenths off what he ran yesterday in practice. These guys are desperately trying to repeat what they did yesterday in practice. Kyle Busch, despite being on the pole, is a tenth off of what he ran yesterday as well. So everybody's struggling a little bit.
And at this level, if you can repeat what you did in practice, you're doing good, because when you go out and make a mock qualifying run, Michael, you're doing all you can do. Now, if the track temperatures get better or the track conditions get better, then you're going to go faster. But a driver usually doesn't have a whole lot more in him because he's done all he can do in practice.
One driver that's standing by with Adam Alexander, maybe he did all he could do to get on top of the charts. Adam?
He's dodged at least one bullet. Kyle Busch staying in front of Ron Hornaday, and that is good news. And you trying to go for 3 in a row after a couple of weeks off in the series. How's the truck?
It's not bad. You know, this Miccosukee Tundra was good yesterday. Just, you know, the 33 was really good. The 88 seemed to be pretty good too. So we know we're going to have to race those guys. Harvick's here. So, you know, it'll be a tough race today. But overall, I think the truck's not bad. It's a top 4 truck, but I think traffic's going to be big here. You know, just not being able to pass. You get real tight behind guys, especially exit of the corners. So we'll see how it plays out. If we can start on the pole, that'd be awesome.
I know you love the truck series. You weren't there for all the festivities last week at Gateway. Were you sorry you missed out on some of the fun late race action?
No, I'm glad somebody else is actually taking my role, so it's good. But Crafton's a buddy of mine, but you know, unfortunately he got stuck in some pretty precarious situations last week, but I felt like he handled it good, and you know, maybe there were some other guys that could have handled it a bit better.
Good luck today.
Thanks.
You know what I like? He said the 33 is good and the 88's good.
Oh, by the way,
those are the two guys that had a little bit of problem last week, obviously. So it'll be fun to see where they wind up today.
Taylor Balsam 6th quick in his qualifying effort, 30.202. Again, Kyle Busch with the fastest run, but don't forget, we've got Kevin Harvick still to come on the track. Welcome back. Qualifying continuing for the Hell of a Good 200, which will be run later on this afternoon. Hampshire Motor Speedway. Now, you talked a little bit about the Bear family and what they had done about configuring this racetrack. Well, under new ownership, they've started to reconfigure the infield, and I think they've done a great job.
Oh, yeah, it's fun over there. There used to be a creek and a little pond in the infield. That's gone. It's been replaced by some hospitality villas. And they need to take advantage of the space they have here, Phil, because I think they had about 18 divisions running this weekend.
Well, we still have 4 or 5 divisions left here. There's going to be 3 races today, I think. There's going to be the modified race, obviously, then our Camping World Truck race, and then there's a ACT race, I think, it's going to be after our truck race.
I woke up about 4:45 yesterday when practice started for something. I don't know what it was, but they've been going hard at it ever since.
How about Mike Skinner? First lap, 30.332. Up to the top of the charts on lap number 2, 29.758. 2 1/1000ths of a second faster than Kyle Busch.
That's such a huge surprise for Mike Skinner to qualify well. Great job by Mike Skinner.
How many poles is that now? Like if he
97.
Yeah, every other time he qualifies, he gets the pole, and that's amazing. And plus the role this team's been on. You know, they've really come along. He talked at the beginning of the year how they might struggle a little bit early because it was a new team. They barely had any trucks, and he was right. They weren't great early in the season, but they've turned it around now.
And now in the yellow corner, we go down to Ray Dunlap, who's with Matt Crafton.
Well, let's find out if he's got anything for Skinner. 29.70s, Matt. You got anything for that to get the pole today?
We ran a 75 yesterday. The track keeps actually warming up, and I think it's a good thing because the thing was really, really cold when everybody first fired off. I think it's going to keep getting better and better, and I think this Menard Chevy has something for it. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, we made a lot of changes from yesterday, so we got off a little bit in the second practice, so I think we'll be all right.
I know you got a little frustrated with Kevin Harvick at the very beginning of practice. Are you able to put all that stuff back out of your head and focus on the job of going back out there and racing again today?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that's just, I mean, what did you expect? I mean, honestly, I expected it. And, I mean, it got to me for, I mean, just that when we were out there and I blew it off. I mean, it's 100% behind me and just go on racing now.
All right, got a smile on his face, ready to climb in that Sylvania-sponsored number 88.
Nick Tucker on the racetrack for his qualifying effort. He is running 15th. And now we head to the blue corner with Adam Alexander. It's Ron Hornaday.
And Ron Hornaday currently third on the board. Let's start with qualifying. And I know you would like to have gotten the pole. Did you get everything out of that lap?
You scared me. I'm second on the board. You said third.
Well, since we have updated the board, Skinner went, and he's now up to the top. I know, I hate to deliver that kind of news to you.
She's just a little loose, so hopefully that pays off in the race. You know, the Cup car still got to practice some more, put some rubber down. And hopefully it gets hotter, and the Copart Chevrolet will come to us.
I know there was some frustration when the race ended last week. How do you handle that mentally as you approach today's race?
You go home like these guys did and build a brand new truck, and you bring it back and you try to win the race. So last week we got to worry about the points. You know, if we don't worry about them points, Skinner is going to sneak up there and get us. So we got to go out there and try to win and do what we got to do.
And he's also concerned about continuing the win streak, guys. He's gone back-to-back at New Hampshire, and Ron Hornaday going to go for the hat trick later today.
Is that Rick? Is there any more corners? I like when you do that.
I don't know who their cutmen will be today, but
can we put Todd in a corner?
Yeah, we'll put Todd in a corner and Kevin Harvick in a corner. Nick Tucker, he was 13th quick on his qualifying effort. He ran a 32.735. Now it's smiling David Starr on the racetrack.
Can I try that? He's in a green corner.
Don't try it. You'll hurt yourself. Don't try it.
I don't want you to pull anything.
That's fun, though. I like that.
First lap for David Starr. We'll see where he slots himself. 11th quick, 30.651 on lap 1.
David looking for a good pickup here.
Got a little sideways in the center there, but not too bad. He should be able to pick it up some. Skinner, first, you talk about how good he qualifies. The first truck that's been able to improve upon his practice time. He ran a 10th better than he did yesterday. So when it comes time to qualify, that man knows how to pull his shoulder belts down and go.
You know, he's going for 3 in a row in the series for the 3rd time. He's already done it twice in his career. I'm going to try to make the 3rd time.
And Hornaday's going for 3 in a row
at this racetrack.
A lot of stuff.
Rick Wren is going for 4 in a row. He won with Johnny Benson, and then the last 2 years with Ron Hornaday. So he's actually going for 4 in a row.
We have a lot of streaks taking place right now. 9th was where David Starr finished on his qualifying run.
Can we streak down to Adam?
Let's do a streak down to Adam. Adam Alexander.
And Mike Skinner and I won't be streaking. That's the good news. You going for your hey, going for a 3rd consecutive win and a 3rd pole here at New Hampshire. I guess you guys are feeling the momentum, huh, Mike?
I'll tell you, Eric Phillips and this whole Randy Moss Motorsports race team, they work really, really hard. We wasn't very good yesterday in practice, and I think our race stuff is okay, maybe top 5 or 6, but we were really bad in the qualifying run, and I left an awful lot on the table there. That's not going to stand up. There's a couple of good trucks back there that can beat that.
Mike Skinner, as of now, picking up where he left off. He's at the top of the board.
Might ought to get Adam to tell Mike he's the only one that's picked up over practice yesterday. That'll make him. I don't know. He's kind of hard on himself there, wasn't he?
A little bit, I thought. Thought he did a nice job.
I did too. I was impressed.
TJ Bell, first lap. He is 14th quick at 30.735. So he'll be trying to pick that up. TJ Bell was 15th quick in practice from yesterday. That was actually in the first practice we held. 29.994. Nowhere near that on his first lap of qualifying.
I'll look for a big pickup here. There's a big gap from 11th Rick Crawford back to Eric Almirola. There's 0.4 of a second in between those 2 positions. We're going to get a lot of trucks will fall in that gap.
TJ Bell slows down on lap number 2, 30.747.
He's the first guy that's done that.
First guy to slow down in qualifying. Mike Skinner up on top of the charts now. Kyle Busch 2nd, Ron Hornaday 3rd. We still have to see the 88 of Crafton on the track.
Now NASCAR on Speed is always on with NASCAR on Speed broadband. Free super site for the hardcore fan. Get the best of NASCAR on Speed plus exclusive videos you can't get anywhere else. log on now to the video section of speedtv.com or NASCAR.com.
I thought that was very well done. Timothy Peters on the racetrack in his Strutmasters Toyota Tundra.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Timothy has been so good here lately. Gosh, last 5 races in a top 10. 7 of the last 8.
Although not so good in practice yesterday. They said they couldn't find the handle on this race truck. 20th quick in practice was the best he could muster, and we'll see how he does in his qualifying run.
I like his line down in 1 and 2. He's down lower on the racetrack. We saw Brian, look at there. He's down on the bottom groove of the racetrack. Not many trucks have been down there. We saw Brian Scott run that groove, and he's up in the 4th spot. What can Timothy do?
Well, he is 12th quick on lap number 2, and that puts him at 30.610. And so Timothy probably won't be too happy with that starting spot, but hopefully they can race a little better than they qualified.
200 miles here, or 200 laps, more than 200 miles here. It's a long race here, relatively speaking, for this racetrack. The Cup race is only 300 laps, right?
A week ago at Gateway, Matt Crafton was in position to win the race. He was black flagged after they deemed him a little too aggressive on the restart with Ron Hornaday. So he dropped back to 13th, but battled all the way back up to a top 10 finish, actually 6th.
Matt, how did y'all feel about the black flag?
Well, I said during the broadcast that had the situation with Todd not occurred just a couple laps before that, I don't think that would have resulted in a black flag. But, you know, again, we've talked about it before. The situations were way different. But when you combine that really in about a 5-lap period of time, I mean, I applaud NASCAR for making a call. Now, whether I totally agree with it or not, you know, I'm not sure. I'm a little bit indifferent on that. But I applaud them for having the guts to make a call like that.
Yeah, it's tough to pull a guy out of the lead late in the race, but you know, like you said, you couple those 2 incidents together, and if they don't make a call, people are going to say, you know, what do you got to do to get a penalty around here anyway?
Matt Crafton was 7th quick on lap number 1. Let's see if he can pick it up. All he'd have to do is pick it up, well, about 3/10 of a second. We've seen that pickup before.
I think he can do it. That looks like a good lap.
Across the start-finish line, he only moves up 1 spot to 6th quickest, 29.969. He does increase, but not enough.
In practice yesterday, in the final practice, we had 14 trucks that were able to run in the 29-second bracket. So far today, only 6 have been able to accomplish that. So obviously, Mike Skinner picked up his speed, and everybody else has dropped theirs off. Therefore, Skinner's on the pole so far.
Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, great to have Dennis Setzer back at the racetrack. He has climbed into his number 8 Malcolmson Construction Chevrolet. Dennis, how tough was it to sit at home and watch these races on TV?
Well, it was tough, Ray. You know, it's the first couple races I've missed in a long time in this series. Had quite a few starts there, but you know, I appreciate the opportunity Dave Malcolmson's given me here. We're both looking for opportunities for next year. You know, he's trying to get sponsorship and we can race together. You know, we both need something going right now. So, you know, it's important races for us coming up here. We have here, Talladega, and Martinsville planned for sure on our season. You know, I'd love to do some more this year if we could.
All right, well, we wish you good luck. And, guys, when you look at the statistics that Dennis Setzer has put up in this 8 truck, very, very impressive. I know it was awful tough for him not to be at the racetrack.
Especially a racetrack like Iowa.
Need to get him a Diet Coke or something. He sounded a little bit parched.
Needed something to drink there.
He did.
Chad McCumbee in the race truck this week. Currently 17th quickest on his first lap, 31.311. McCumbee wasn't too quick yesterday in practice at 30.631. He was 24th quick of the trucks that were on the track.
It may be hard to get back to that 30.63 for Chad.
Got his work cut out from him. That's about 3/4 of a second he'll need to pick up.
Across the start-finish line, does he improve? Well, he improves his time, but not his position. 30.855 is the time, but he stays 17th quick. He picked up a half a second and didn't move.
Yeah. You know, qualifying is very important here. 13 races, the 13 previous races, 10 of the winners have come out of the top 10.
Well, how important also is pit selection? I mean, we talk about the starting position on the track, but because of the new pit rules in the Camping World Truck Series, does your pit stall play into that even more?
Well, it is important, but remember, we only have, you know, 34.5 trucks here, and there's 43 pit stalls. So that's going to create some other openings as well. It's not like a Cup race where you have 43 pit stalls, 43 cars, and you really only have, you know, one or two gaps in the entire pit road for openings. You're going to have a few more openings for the Truck Series. So if you have a decent qualifying run, good chance you're going to have an opening.
That number 1 pit stall down on toward turn 1 is the best pit stall. So if you can get that one, you have an advantage. But after that, I think it's a wash. There's plenty of openings up and down pit road, so you can get in and out of pits, out of the pits in a hurry.
Mike Skinner probably will take that if he holds on to that top spot. Again, Skinner is the mark that everyone is chasing, 29.758. Now Terry Cook on the racetrack.
Former winner here at Loudon.
Isn't it fun that we're talking about Ron Hornaday, or excuse me, we're talking about Skinner being on the pole, Skinner on the pole. He's on the pole by 2/1000ths of a second. Or we'd be talking about Kyle Busch being on the pole. That's how close things are in the Camping World Truck Series.
Terry Cook was 18th quick on lap 1, 30.922.
Terry ran about a 30 flat in practice. He was 18th quickest overall.
Yeah, he needs to pick her up a lot.
His crew chief, Daniel Rollins, and his wife, Lori, had a baby this week, so big news in the Harris Trucking Team camp.
Wow, he did pick it up a lot.
Yeah, sure did. 30.127. Good second lap, 126.425. That'll slot him in 8th right now.
So a potential top 10 start for Terry Cook. How about Kevin Harvick, the antagonist this week at New Hampshire? And Matt Crafton could be standing on an island this week.
Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire. Great day on speed. We started off at 1 o'clock with a Wheeling modified race. And then 2:30, the setup with Chris Dabota leads into our hell of a good 200 at 3 o'clock. The Camping World Truck Series. Be here on speed.
Stick with us all day. Great racing. Tagline was be there on speed.
They see there's the professional over there. Phil gets through a nice promo, does a sweet job, and then Rick's got to correct. Always judging, always watching.
He's got to call me out.
Phil is normally the corrector, so I figured I would take the opportunity to jump in.
And I was here last June as well.
We're not even going there. James Buescher, 8th quick, 30.099 for Buescher. Teammate to Rick Crawford. Crawford slotted 14th now.
Good lap for James. Picks it up 0.4 of a second and up solidly in the top 10.
We were talking about the modified race. The guys running in that, Rob Fuller's with Ray Dunlap.
Well, and Rick, whenever you start talking about the Fullers in New Hampshire, a lot of history up here with Rick and Jeff Fuller. But Rob Fuller, you told me just a moment ago you think you have a shot to win that modified race. Is that true?
Yeah, that car, Billy Colton and the guys at Troy got a really good car for me up here. I mean, it was fast in the draft. It drives real good. A little nervous. We only got 1 lap of practice with no scuff session because we had a problem going through tech. But I really think that car is going to be up front by the end of the day.
Well, that'll be fun to watch. And, guys, he had a lot of trouble with his 71 Draco Springs truck yesterday. They've changed the geometry on the front, and he's not quite sure what to expect in qualifying. Now let's go back to Adam.
And if you take away all the interesting stuff that happened at the end of last week's race in St. Louis, Matt Crafton had a very good truck. 6th today. You satisfied with it?
We're not satisfied with it. I mean, we're okay with it. I mean, we were, I think, 7th in the last practice, and I think there's still a couple good trucks that can move us back. But I think we actually got a pretty good race truck. It was a lot better qualifying than it was yesterday. I know it didn't pick up, but it's so cold, the track temperature. So it's the same truck. It was a brand new truck. We raced at Iowa, we raced at St. Louis, and we raced it here. So it's actually a really good piece. So looking forward to the race today.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And this Menard Chevy, well, we will have it up front by the end of the day, and hopefully it won't be as exciting having in for everybody.
This is his kind of track.
Was Robbie Fuller talking about Talladega? Did you hear?
I heard him say drafting.
He was not confused. He's right. They draft in the modifieds here at Loudon, and that's why at 1 o'clock you need to tune into speed and watch this. It's crazy. It's another wonder of the world.
Mike Joy and Dick Bergeron will talk you through that race here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Kevin Harvick straps the helmet on and will be climbing into the truck. That truck was very good yesterday in practice, even though he maybe played a little mind games with Matt Crafton early on. Later in the session, he was extremely fast. As a matter of fact, Harvick was the 5th quickest in practice at 29.739. If he can back that up, that would put him on the pole and knock Skinner off the top spot. Richard Harriman on the racetrack now.
Just around the corner.
Yeah, just around the corner in Washington. 21-year-old.
State.
2nd career.
State. He probably gets the award for the
Furthest
traveling most distance.
Furthest traveled. His first lap, 21st quickest at 32.211.
I came from Italy. Does that count?
You
Well,
did.
You're not racing.
You did come a long way.
From here, though. From here. That was a long way from here. There's no question about that.
I think I should maybe get the award from him.
Tell you what, we'll give you a promo to read later. How about that?
No, because then you'll make fun of me.
He'll call you out on it.
That's not
true about that.
I like Richard's line. He's got a good line in that truck. Right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Ran a 32.20 on his first lap, so he can get down in 31s on the second. Yeah. 31.590. Picked up 0.6 of a second.
21st quick for Richard Perryman. Well, there's Max Pappas. You talked about Italy. We noticed Ray Dunlap taking a break. We'll let him take a break, and we'll come right back with more qualifying here in New Hampshire.
He's from... I like that guy's voice. He's a good promo reader. Did you hear him?
I did.
He's all geared up on something.
You going to call him out, too?
Of course not.
He did
Hell of a
fine.
good 200 qualifying continuing for the Camping World Truck Series. Dennis Setzer on the racetrack. Malcolmson Construction, Chevy Silverado. And we saw, as we went to commercial break, Ray Dunlap taking a break. Well, he wasn't actually taking a break. It was just a better position to conduct an interview. Let's go down to him.
Well, Rick, we be chilling down here. It's a little chilly at New Hampshire, but I'm hanging out with my buddy Max. And 2009, so much about a learning experience for you, Max. Tell me what you learned yesterday about this racetrack in New Hampshire.
You said it right. It's my first time here with a Geico truck, and really pleased to be at the track. I'm getting experience running laps. It's all new for me, and I feel that as many laps as I do on the track, the better I get. And that's basically my goal this year with the Geico program. Get better and better. It's always a stiff competition, Doesn't matter where you race. You race in the Cup Series, and it's just stiff. You come in the truck, and you have these experienced guys that they make it tough for you. So I feel that I'm gaining a lot of experience. I'm proud of what I'm doing, and the guys are helping me a lot here in the Geico team. So step by step, I think you're going to see a crescendo towards the end of the season.
We sure hope so. Hope you have a good day today. That's Max Pappas in the Geico number 9.
Charles Lewandowski on the racetrack now in that 0-1. Now, could you translate what Max Pappas just said, Michael, because you were in Italy?
Did he just say there would be a crescendo at the end of the season? I know that's a good thing when you have a crescendo, isn't it? Everything comes together.
That's music.
Oh.
Rises.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the money he could be saving if he went to Geico.com.
And the music.
They have those little things.
Those eyeballs. I like that. That scared me a little bit.
26 quick on lap number 1 for Lewandowski. See if he can pick it up on lap 2.
If I was Max, I'd grow all that hair that caveman's got and drive the Geico car. That'd be pretty cool. Looked like Charles's truck was bottomed out. Did you see some sparks coming out from underneath the left front corner of it when he got down in turn 3?
Yeah. It looked like it. Charles is a former regular competitor in the East Series.
Boy, they had a good race here yesterday.
They really did.
It was fun to see. You'll see that on Speed, right?
You will, yeah.
On Thursday, 3 o'clock.
Thursday at 3 o'clock.
Charles Lewandowski
fun
was
race.
23rd quick on his second lap. Let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, how cool is it, guys, to see a black number 3 at the racetrack? Austin Dillon behind the wheel. This Bad Boy Motors Chevrolet, and I'm just asking you about how much fun you had at Iowa in your debut.
Yeah, we had a great time down there. The weekend was really good for us, so we got to go out there and run competitive in the top 10. And just really excited about New Hampshire. We had a good run yesterday, and we were 4th in practice, and this Bad Boy Mowers Silverado is pretty good.
And guys, interesting, the first couple of racetracks that Austin came to, places where he had a good deal of experience before he got behind the wheel of a truck.
I talked to Mike Dillon, Austin's dad, last night, and he said that if everything goes well here, they'll probably take Austin to Martinsville and run that race as well in the Camping World Truck Series.
I think they want to use this very truck. Isn't that correct?
That's why everything has to turn out okay.
He said if everything turns out well, meaning nothing happens to the truck, we'd love to see him in Martinsville.
And that is an ex-Kevin Harvick truck.
Andy Ponstein on the racetrack now in the 0-2. 33-year-old out of your state, Michigan.
He's a Michigander.
Got a pretty truck. I like chrome wheels.
Ponstein's first lap, 33.203. He's 27th quick.
If you can't go fast, you might as well look good. This truck's not real fast.
Andy has been a regular competitor at Berlin Raceway in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which our broadcast partner last week, Johnny Benson, has owned a piece of that racetrack. Well, Johnny did a nice job in your absence.
Yeah, I really.
Mike, you're almost speechless, which surprises me.
It made me a little nervous.
We appreciated him standing in for you.
We definitely appreciated that.
I loved his insight too. You know, Johnny's a champion of this series, and he certainly knows what it takes mentally to go out and not only win races but win championships. So it's good to have him on.
Why did you give me a dirty look when I said that?
Buford T. Justice about to make it onto the racetrack. Now that's actually Michael McDowell in the 98, but it is a Thor Sport truck that will be taking to the track for qualifying. We'll be right back. Back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Hell of a good 200 qualifying continues from Loudon, New Hampshire. Now it's Rob Fuller's turn on the clock.
We heard Rob talking earlier. He's going to run the modified race. Did a nice job in this truck the couple times he's run it.
He has a good drafting modified. Pretty good lap, 31.241. Lap number 2 for Rob Fuller, 121.917. That will be 22nd of the 29 trucks that have been on the racetrack.
Ray Dunlap.
Guys, want to give you a little overview of the 98 team down here. They're getting ready to push the truck up forward just a bit, and as they do that, we'll show you what a cool paint scheme they've got on this truck that Michael McDowell will be driving later on today. Says the police department on the front. I want to show you, of course, they got the Wheeling flashers right here on the front. You got your red, white, and blue going on. 98 down here. This is for the Perkins Police Camp up in Ohio. Glad to have them on board. And, of course, folks, DARE, which is a program that Thor Sport Racing has been a big part of for a long, long time. So they're here to serve and protect, and Michael McDowell was just down here at the end of pit road and checking out where the guys were taking their line into the corner. He said he learned an awful lot about how to drive this thing deep into turn number 1 here at New Hampshire.
Kevin Harvick on the racetrack now. This could be a threat for the pole. First lap, where does he slot himself? Way back in 16th, 30.432.
I have a feeling that maybe Kevin Harvick just used that first lap, maybe just to get his tires where he wanted them.
I saw that truck, his wheels going right and left down in the center of the corner, Phil, in 3 and 4. So I didn't figure that'd be that great of a lap. But when he got to turn 1 and 2, it didn't look stable through there either. Real good through 3 and 4 there on that time through the corner, but the lap before he was loose.
How much can he pick up? Where can he slot himself? 4th quick for Kevin Harvick, 29.875. What a huge pickup for Kevin.
He will be right outside as of now Ron Hornaday in his team truck.
So Kevin Harvick with an impressive qualifying effort on lap number 2 slots himself 4th on the list. We'll be back for more qualifying after these messages. Now on the racetrack, Max Pappas. Previously, it was Mike Harmon and Tim Bainey Jr. Mike Harmon 27th quick, 19th quick for Tim Bainey Jr. in his qualifying effort. We'll see how Max Pappas does on lap 1 of qualifying. He's 26th quick.
31.691 for Max.
A good pickup, almost 0.8 of a second for Tim Bainey Jr. on his second lap in that Aaron's Dream Machine truck. So good run for Bainey. Pappas will need to pick up about that if he wants to get inside that top 20, Phil.
Yeah, Max ran about a 30-50 in practice, so that's a full second, 2/10 quicker than that first lap. But Max knows that he's in the show, so there's no sense taking any chances. Good pickup on lap number 2 into the top 20 at a 30.705, almost exactly a second pickup.
Impressive run there on the second lap for Max Pappas.
He's from Lake Como, that's in Italy. And George Clooney lives there too, and he's from Kentucky.
Yeah, he has a house. Yeah.
Adam Alexander.
Major pickup for Kevin Harvick from lap 2 to lap 1, 4th on the board. Feel good about it?
Yeah, these things just take me a little while to get used to because they're so much different from race trim to qualifying trim. So Duplicolor Chevrolet was good, and it's really good in race trim, and happy to be 4th, and we'll go from there.
Based on the activities of a week ago, how anxious are you to go truck racing today, Kevin?
Well, I'm excited. Obviously, you know, I feel like we have the right people in our stuff. You know, there's a reason that we put those people in and took some people out to make sure that we're winning races, and feel like we have the best team in the garage, and I feel like these are the times you got to prove it. Good luck. Thank you.
Austin Dillon now on the racetrack, that big number 3.
Should we explain to everybody what he meant.
Well, let's do that. Actually,
I think we should.
When Kevin started his truck team, the first full-time driver he ever had was Matt Crafton. And then after a year, he took Matt Crafton out and put Ron Hornaday in.
Not even quite a year, actually.
Well, no, he ran the full year.
Oh, yeah, the full year. I'm sorry.
He may have announced it before the end of the year.
They had talked about him not coming back during the year.
And so Kevin's a little bit upset with Matt right now. So he was saying that he took Matt out and put Ron in because that made his team better.
Yeah, you had some guys in corners now. Are you going to put Kevin in the corner?
Kevin will
Look at that lap.
Later. How about it for Austin Dillon? 29.863. That slots him 4th quick.
He backed up what he did in practice. He was 4th quick in practice. So great job by Austin Dillon.
He's got to be really happy right now. That black number 3 truck up in the top 5. That's so fun to see. And I know Richard Childress has got a big smile on his face down in the garage area somewhere.
And the great news is they're looking at maybe running the full schedule next year here in the Camping World Truck Series. So what a nice addition to have an RCR truck with Austin Dillon and that huge big number 3.
That reminds you of when this series started, doesn't it? That black number 3 truck out there on the track.
There's Buford.
Austin Dillon ran at Iowa earlier where he qualified 9th in that race.
We heard he's there to serve and protect. It'd be nice if I know that Matt Crafton would like to see him get that truck up in that 9th position so he could sort of be like Hornaday is, or excuse me, Harvick is with Hornaday. He's got Hornaday right in his sights. He can kind of take care of him. Crafton would like to see the serve and protect truck to be right behind him so he could make sure he's okay.
DARE on the side of this truck, that's Drug Abuse Resistance Education, a great program for elementary school children to learn a little bit more about the problems that drugs can cause. So obviously a great sponsor on the side of this truck with ThorSport.
30.776. Ooh. Michael was 10th quickest in practice. He ran a 29.88 in practice. Look for a pickup here on lap number 2.
That exit of turn 2 is not going to help that pickup a great deal, Phil. He got out of whack. You can see him doing a lot of steering inside of that truck.
Comes out onto the front stretch. Does he improve? Sure enough, 18th quick for Michael McDowell, 30.437.
You know, sometimes when you have time to think about something, it's not the best plan. You know, he talked about he went down in the corner and he watched how guys were charging the corner. It looked like he might have been overdriving that truck a little bit. A lot of wheel back to the right and left as he made his way through the corners. He's been standing there all day long watching trucks qualify, trying to figure out how to make himself faster than he was yesterday. And whatever plan he came up with, combined with the way his truck handled, it didn't work.
And he's also running the Cup race, so he got a little bit of practice this morning on the very racetrack that he just attempted to qualify on.
So off the racetrack comes the 98. Again, Michael McDowell in the ThorSport Police Department, TPD, to protect and serve. Let's go back down to Adam Alexander.
I think everyone expected Austin Dillon to qualify good, but I'm not sure that good outside of row 2 right now. Are you surprised at how good it was?
Well, I mean, we had a great car yesterday, too, so I was pretty confident. I really was wanting the pole there. We were discussing before qualifying if we should sneak a half a pound out of that right rear just to tighten it up a little bit. And we were close to doing it, but we're just a little loose. So the Bad Boy Mowers, got to thank those guys for helping us out this weekend, and just a great truck.
Second career start later today for Austin Dillon in the Truck Series.
He's talking about a half a pound of air, and you think, well, that's not much. He's only a 10th of a second off the pole. He didn't need much. That could have been all he needed to set that truck on the pole. So while he's real happy, did you hear him? He said, we really wanted the pole. That's what we came here for.
Well, you got to set your sights high, your goals high. The 41 had a little trouble getting up to speed on the backstretch, but now looks as though he is up to speed. The last truck to attempt qualifying in the Camping World Truck Series here for the Heluva Good 200 to be run later this afternoon.
I think he's had enough. That was an adventurous lap.
There are 36 trucks, so obviously he will be in the field, doesn't have to set any type of a blistering pace. And here's the problems that he had coming out of 2.
Just a little bit wide, and they had to jerk the thing away from the wall, and Lost Control did a nice job of keeping that truck out of the inside wall.
Kind of the skirting on the inside of that truck went away when he got into the grass.
It happens real quick, doesn't it, Phil?
Sure
I bet you, Chris thought, I've got this corner made. I'm pretty much straight now. Whoa.
And that's one thing about this racetrack is you can get loose when you are 99% straight. You can still buzz the tires loose like Chris did just there.
With that, the 41 truck makes its way into the garage. He had the 36 quickest time in qualifying. That means Mike Skinner has won the pole once again, and this is his 49th pole in the Camping World Truck Series.
It wasn't the 92nd like I thought it was. It's the 49th.
I'll tell you what, it was another impressive run. We've seen him start from the front so many times. He has won 9 races from the pole, including 2 races ago at Iowa. And again, he's going for 3 in a row in the Camping World Truck Series.
You know, Kyle Busch is also going for 3 in a row, not consecutive races, but for him, it would be his 3rd victory in a row.
There's a couple other streaks that are taking place. Ron Hornaday trying to make it 3 in a row at this racetrack. It would actually be his 4th win here. He won the 2nd time we were in Loudon.
I have to ask Mike. He said that'll never hold up, and there he's standing with the pole ceremony. So it did stand up. He was a little bit hard on himself after that lap. He said he left a lot out there, but he got more than anyone else.
A couple veterans will start in front of the field today. Mike Skinner, Kyle Busch. It's his 4th front row start of this season. Again, as you mentioned, Kyle Busch looking to make it 3 in a row in the races that he has run in the Camping World Truck Series this year.
You know, it's funny when I walk through the garage area like I did this morning, I'll talk to some of the crew chiefs and I'd say, you know, I ask who the best trucks, who do you think you have to beat? And it's everybody that was mentioned is up in the top 6 positions right now.
But you know what I like about that, Bill? I don't know who's the clear-cut favorite. You know, you've got 6 or 7 guys that could go win this race today. A lot of times you narrow it down to 1 or 2 that you think will win the race. Today, not so much.
Pretty impressive. You throw Austin Dillon's name into the mix here with all of these veterans and all the experience. And then look at row 4 with Matt Crafton. And in row 3, you have Kevin Harvick. So very close between those two who have already shown that they're playing a little bit of, well, at least Kevin Harvick is playing the mind games with Matt Crafton.
Well, I think probably they will be close at some point during this afternoon's race.
And I will keep our eye on not only those two, but Todd Bodine, who starts in the 8th row. He was involved in the little skirmish a week ago with Matt Crafton.
I'm going to keep my eye on everybody.
Yeah.
Really. What do you think?
Well, I love what Kyle Busch said. He said the first 2 trucks he mentioned were the 33 and the 88 that were running good. That makes for good times if you're a race fan. You tune in on Speed and see how all this turns out.
And it all kicks off with Chris Devota at 2:30 this afternoon, and then the green flag just after 3 o'clock.
But don't miss that modified race at 1 o'clock. What a great warm-up here for the Camping World Truck Series.
They're going to be drafting, y'all.
The modifieds will draft at this racetrack. Again, just over a mile racetrack, but very flat 2-degree banking, all the way up to 7-degree banking.
Look at those babies. That's a ground thumper. Ground stomper, they call them. Those things are wild.
You know, Ryan Newman's going to be running that race. Casey Kane as well. At 1 o'clock.
I know Steve Park is. I saw his name on the time sheet.
Well, I think he practiced the car for Ryan Newman while he was doing the Chase promotion in New York.
Todd Zegedy's going to be in the race. I just like to say his name. Zegedy.
Ryan Priest is on the pole. He's, what, about 18 or 19 years old now?
Hey, they lined my car up. I got to go practice.
Well, practice and practice well.
Thank you, bud.
Come back this afternoon.
That.
I'll be back.
Okay.
And we'll be back. Hey, can I jump in here for a second? We're going to run the commercial break, and then we're going to hear from that guy, the pole sitter for today's Hell of a Good 200. Presentation of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from New Hampshire is brought to you by Camping World's Destination Recreation Sweepstakes. Log on to campingworld.com/racing to enter to win weekly giveaways. This week, win one of 5 deluxe recliners. Let's go back trackside with our pole sitter, Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. Of course, the 5 team's certainly on a roll right now. Back-to-back wins and the 49th career pole. That's pretty impressive, Mike.
Thank you, Ray. I just, you know, it's all about the team. Eric stayed here and worked with the Toyota engineers last night till they run him out of here. And, you know, we can't do this without Exide Batteries and PC Myler Navigator and, you know, Randy Moss, everybody that's involved with this race team. I can't thank them enough.
It's no surprise to me that you guys are going for 3 wins in a row, but 3 wins in a row in the very same truck. Can you believe that?
This poor old girl, she's getting tired. We're going to have to put a body on it. We hadn't even hit anything with it yet. So hopefully it gets through here and we can take this truck to Martinsville.
Last question, Mike. We watched the practice, and it looked to me like Hornaday and Harvick were the 2 trucks to beat, maybe just a couple tenths faster than you. What do you got to do to get in there and mix it up with them and get win number 3 in a row?
Well, 2 things. One is we didn't show all we had in practice, and we probably won't show all we got in the race till it's time. But It's that way every week. The Harvick stuff is just they're in their own zip code right now, and they've got us all beat. I mean, trust me, they got us beat. But you know, at the end of the day, you got to run the whole race, and hopefully we can run the whole race today and get a good finish.
All right, congratulations on another pole. Mike Skinner will lead them to the green this afternoon right here at New Hampshire.
And Ray, you talked about the streak that Mike Skinner is on, back-to-back wins, of course, at Iowa and Gateway International Raceway a week ago. Kyle Busch has won the last two events he's participated in here in the trucks, Bristol and Chicagoland. And then you talk about Ron Hornaday, who's won back-to-back races right here at New Hampshire. But perhaps the most impressive streak of all, by Ron Hornaday's crew chief, Rick Wynn. He won here in 2006 with Johnny Benson, and he's been atop the pit box the last two seasons, leading driver 33 to victory lane. Cooler temperatures today, a changing racetrack. The crew chief could make a call that decides this race. Rick Wynn going for 4 in a row. He is no doubt one of the best in the business, and he'd like to take Ron Hornaday back there this afternoon.
Ron Hornaday shivering a little bit as he awaits the start of this race.
Let's take a look at Mike Skinner's qualifying run here. He takes the green flag. Remember now, very cool racetrack, 52 degrees when we started qualifying, so he's going to slip and slide a little bit on this first lap. I was talking to some of the Cup guys after qualifying yesterday, and they said every corner that their car felt better. So I think this Mike Skinner probably found the same thing. You see what he ran on his second lap, 29.758. It's his second pole of the season, which is surprising in itself. What, 49th of his career?
Yeah, 49th pole. We see his splitter just a little bit higher off the ground than, for example, Ron Hornaday, who is sealed to the racetrack all the way around the track.
Yeah, probably a little bit stiffer springs in the front of this truck right here. But there are two ways to skin a cat, certainly more than one way to skin a cat, and Mike Skinner's guys have got it done the last couple weeks. But now his tires have come in here. This is lap number 2, had a good 1 and 2. He thought he left a lot on the table, and I'm sure from the driver's seat, he did feel like he left a lot on the table, but he didn't leave as much as everybody else did because he had the fastest lap by 2 1/1000ths of a second over Kyle Busch.
And one of the bigger pickups, 0.6 of a second from first lap to the second lap. Matt Crafton, again, the marked man when he came to Loudon today. Up next, it is the Modifieds here from New Hampshire.